Dutch and Andrew bringing the thunder. All right, Dutch, we brought up the stress, right? And you mentioned the facts. So let me just rattle off some of these facts of stress. If it's being negative and you're not handling it, this is why your cognitive processing is going down, because you're not doing your nutrition, you're not doing your sleep, you're not doing your fitness. 80% of all doctor's visits are stress-related disorders. 50% of all deaths in the U.S. are caused by cardiovascular disease, which stress is a major contributing factor. Most heart attacks occur at 9 a.m. on Monday mornings. That's straight stress. 30 to 80 million Americans have hypertension. That's high blood pressure due to stress, not diet. Cholesterol levels rise during periods of stress. So when you're stressed out, you don't even get to enjoy the Bojangles biscuit and your cholesterol goes up anyway. 50 million Americans suffer from chronic pain, and stress and negative emotions turn acute pain into chronic pain because the stress hormone ACTH blocks endorphins, and it's just a downward spiral of feeling bad. And whoever feels good when you're in pain? What about you, Dutch? Do you feel good when you're in pain?
I tell you what, I'd rather not be in pain.
Right. And when you start going down the path of stress, what you're doing is you're the hormone dump ACTH, and it blocks endorphins, which make you feel good. Now, the
let me add one more thing.
Yeah.
That 80% figure, you said some people believe 90%, and
yes.
And I'll tell you why. That number goes up every year. That number's not going down, because as we become smarter and we become better at finding out this information, that number gets higher every year. So as you said, it could be as high as 90. And don't be surprised if next year that 90 is the number, or the year after that 90 is the number, and then people could say it could be as high as 95, because we're becoming better at this, at finding out the causes, the root causes of these things. So it ain't going down.
No, it's like, when I was at the sheriff's office, we were going to write a book called All Roads Lead to Convenience Stores, So this is all roads lead back to stress. Every disease, like the road, every disorder, it all comes back and starts. The root cause is you didn't handle your stress. You didn't manage it. Yep. Now, here's the psychological effects. The World Health Organization says depression, clearly a stress-related disorder, is the #1 disability worldwide. Depression, stress-related. Now, let's talk about the hormones again, right? Stress alters serotonin pathways, which causes insomnia. And then you're messing, because now I'm not getting my 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and the whole thing collapses on itself as like a house of cards. Did you know this, Dutch, that sales of sedatives are second only to pain relievers? So you got the opiates and the pain relievers, #1. #2, sleeping pills in the U.S.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started down that path. I'll get upset.
24 million Americans use drugs, and that's prescription drugs, written by their doctor to cope with stress. That doesn't include alcohol, the now halfway legal cannabis, right? And the sugar, the food. We self-medicate constantly with stress. There's stress eaters, man. That's a lot of people have a hard time getting their weight under control because they eat to cope with the stress, which causes more stress on their bodies, and now it's just a downward spiral on that. Or it could be, whatever, I say your Oreo cookie. It could be your cigarette. It could be whatever, your alcohol drink, your beer, your wine, whatever it is that you're using to cope with it, it's actually causing more stress. The only
and I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Now I was going to say, all the things you're naming, you named some good stuff there, right? All those things that are killing people. That's the average-minded things that look good, that taste good, that feel good, right? But that happiness, the long life, the better relationships. So you got to get rid of some of those things. So then you get words to get to the great things. You got to hear a word like sacrifice. You got to hear words like getting rid of stuff. See, those don't sound as attractive as eating all you want.
Oh, shut up, Dutch. Yeah. Man, why are you cussing, man? I think the FCC banned words like self-discipline and sacrifice.
I tell you, those words don't sound as good as all you can eat.
Yeah.
It doesn't look as good as that when you're driving down the street and you see all you can eat. You're making that right into that parking lot of that fast food joint, right? But when you see words like self-discipline, you're driving right by that place. When you see words like sacrifice, you keep it moving.
But you have to have a target, right? You have to have a target. And it goes right back to where we were at the beginning. What is it that you really want out of life? Do you want to have great relationships? Do you want to have financial, health? Do you want to have, cultural health? Do you want to have mental health and emotional health and physical health and spiritual health? Do you want those things? And if you do, then you might have to sacrifice, the drug of choice, whatever that self-medicate, whether it's, the Oreo cookie all the way through the prescription drugs to the illegal drugs to the alcohol, whatever it is, you might have to give those up to get to your target, because those things are sand traps and they keep you stuck in a sand trap.
And I tell you, I want to encourage people. It's not nearly as hard as it sounds. Now, we're not here to tell you that it's not a challenge, that it's not difficult, but it's not nearly as hard as you've been led to believe it is, and it's worth way more than we're even putting out on this show right now. It's worth way more than we can ever express verbally. Great relationships, long, healthy life, being around your family, being stress-free, all those things. I can't put into words the value of all that compared to what you're going through now. I can't do it.
No, it's literally inconceivable. Gadzooks.
Fact. I mean, again, this isn't about. When I tell people what I have going for myself, I always say I'm not trying to impress people. I'm trying to impress upon people.
Yeah.
Like, I literally feel great that, and people will look at you like you're strange when you're not concerned. When you're in a situation where what's hitting the fan, and you're the calm one, people are going to think, initially, the first time it happens, people are going to think something's wrong with you. They're going to think you don't care. They're going to think you don't have any emotions. They're going to say a lot of things, right? But let that second, third, fourth time when what hits the fan, you know what they're going to be? They're going to be following you. They're going to be asking you what to do. They're going to be seeking you.
Yep.
Because they're going to begin to understand why. They're going to begin to understand why you are the way you are and what you gain from it. And they're going to be seeking you to lead them.
I know people call me calculated, and like they say it like a cuss word. He's calculated. Yeah, I think stuff through, right? I actually have a thought process. I have a process to think all my thoughts. I ask what's my target. I identify sand traps. I've moved truths into the fact column. I drill facts down to be precise. Right? Yeah, I'm calculated. Thank you. That's a compliment. But people like average-minded people, man, it's like, oh, they're calculated.
Well, they fear what they don't understand. And try being the only one that's not upset and emotional when something bad happens. Try to be the only one. Yours not going to look good. And then after you explain it, after they get a chance to see it, then they're going to go, oh, and they're going to be knocking on your door. Dutch, can you help me with this? This just happened. I need your help. Can you show me how to do this? Can you walk me down this path? They're going to come because when that house is on fire, if you're standing there screaming, jumping up and down at everyone, and I'm looking around trying to figure out the exit. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of there.
And I'll tell you, and let me bring this back down to the kids we're closing up the program, Dutch. And I watch this with my kids. The peer pressure is for them to not know what they want. They are looked upon like they are some kind of aberration that they would have a 50-year plan, that they're dialed in on a target. Because the peer, and if you say that you do, the peer pressure is that you're nuts, you're not cool like one of us because we don't know what we're going to do, and nobody does at our age. How could you possibly? You're just a freak of nature or whatever.
What's wrong with you?
Yes, right? And so I shout out to my kids because even Drew just graduated. Jack's he'll be a junior next year. Michaela's going into 7th grade. They took these lessons, and they take it on the chin every single day. And you know what? I'm at these parties, and just our self-talk, this language that you and I use, Dutch, in this warrior culture, people look at us like we're nuts when you're around the average-minded folks, that we would even, they have no idea what they want in life, and they're in their 40s. It just blows my mind, dude. So here's the question. Tell me what you do want, what you really, really want out of life more than anything else. And then I'm going to ask you, what does that look like? Tell me what it is that you do want, what you really want out of life more than anything else, and then tell me what that looks like. And that's where we should be pointing our genius brain. Dutch, the hour is gone, brother. I'll see you all next week. Peace out.